For a long time, I didn't really understand Spyderco. I didn't really understand I didn't know anything about it. And so this is one of the boxes here, but yeah, just didn't understand the appeal and the functional aspect of Spyderco. So when you see the prices of some pocket knives, and as far as like a tool, you know, like say a wrench is a tool, or a hammer is a tool, you wouldn't pay potentially hundreds of dollars for a wrench or a hammer. So looking at a pocket knife as a tool, as far as that aspect, you look at Spyderco and the prices are pretty high, you know. So you kind of like, I didn't really look into it. And my initial impression was a boutique pocket jewelry type thing. And they weren't really intended to be used, you know, like as a tool, like a regular pocket knife. You're supposed to use it, right? But as I got into it a little bit more, and you know, over the years, just kind of understood Spyderco, and they've been around a long time. Here's an example of a 1996 Spyderco, and you'll see a lot of similarities into the modern designs. So yeah, this is a 1996, and I have a separate video on this. But so yeah, they've been around a long time. They actually started making knives in the early 80s. They started in the late 70s with sharpening tools, and then they moved into knives in the 80s. And then, you know, they just kind of, for a long time, since the middle 90s at least, they've been making just kind of higher end knives. You know, I mean, you could look at that and say, well, that's a pocket jewelry type knife, and that's the way I looked at them. So let's get into my more modern perception here. So we're going to start with the cheaper stuff, and then we're going to work up and have some examples here. Byrd is a separate name brand, but it's basically Spyderco's cheap brand. And when I say cheap, I mean price, because they're actually pretty darn good. So this is the Cara 2 Byrd knife. Now these are on the top row are made in China, so you want to consider that in this whole. Let me show them to you. So there's a plastic handle. It's very grippy. It has a super solid lockup on the lock back, and it has. I'm going to go into the blade design here shortly, because I'm going to get into some of the other Spydercos before I explain it. But you notice the hole is a little bit different. So these are like $30, something like that. So this is a really good knife for the price. And they have different styles. So this is a rescue knife. This one's serrated. It's a different blade style. So that's for rescue situations. And then you have Spyderco. So these here are Spydercos now. Actually have a little spider on them, which I think is a cool one of the things that I thought was cool is a little spider on there. And this is called the Tenacious, which this one is actually really popular because it's a really good knife for the price. So these are like $50 or less. They are made in China. They don't have the best blade steel, but they're easy to sharpen. They're just a solid, comfortable knife. Very strong. Has these liners here with the G10 on the outside, so it's grippy. You can put the pocket clip anywhere you want on both sides. And it's just a really good knife. And it has just a basic liner lock. Right there, little liner lock that this slides over like a little kickstand and releases the blade. So it's simple, it's easy to use, it's a good blade, it's inexpensive, relatively speaking, for Spyderco. And so yeah, I can understand why it's popular. And then of course you can get different colors, different handle styles. This is a carbon fiber, kind of slippery though. I like the G10, this is like a red G10. Now if that one's kind of like the medium size, you have these other two, the larger size. So this would be the Resilience, which this is kind of like a larger Tenacious, much larger, but it's basically the same knife. You have the liner lock, you have the same blade steel, same G10, same liners, everything like that, pocket clip. And then you have the smaller one, just a little bit different shape and everything, but it's basically the same design. This is the Astute. So this is a smaller knife, more manageable. Let's say you want a smaller version. This is a good option. Liner lock, inexpensive, lightweight. So all those are the Chinese-made Spydercos. These are actual Spydercos. These are to the Byrd brand. Now the rest of them down here are made in the United States, and they have different blade steels. So the steels make a big difference. All right, so this is the Manix 2. This is the lightweight Manix 2. It has a nice blue, and it has a ball bearing lock. So this is a different lock system here. So it has this little ball bearing that's trapped in between this little cage right here, and the spring puts it in place to block the blade. So you can pull back, release the blade, and then it'll move. And it's fairly solid, easy to carry, lightweight. This one's a nice good sized blade. You're able to move your hand up here a little bit and get closer to the blade. So yeah, it's one option here. This is the larger version. This is the XL version. Same lock system. And then this is a really popular one, the Paramilitary 2. All three of these are the same type of knife. There's different handles. This is the G10. These are aluminum. but this is a very popular one. Now I'm just going to talk about the lock on these, because this is the compression lock. But also I want to mention the main reason why I think Spyderco is popular is the blade shape, the style of the blade. The hole right here is a characteristic that's obvious, kind of like stands out, but it's actually the blade shape itself, and the way they cut and grind the blade. So what it is it's kind of wide this way. It's like a triangle. And so basically when you look at it from the top down, let me zoom in on this knife, because I'll use this one as an example for pretty much everything going forward, because it has the same lock and it has the same blade. So you can see it's a triangle going this way, so it tapers out, gets more fine in the to the tip, and it tapers this way, thick, thin, and then it's like a wedge shape, a full wedge shape from the cutting edge all the way back here. It's like one continuous ramp. So as you're cutting, once you cut through whatever you're cutting, let's say you're cutting a steak, well, once the cut happens with the very edge, then it's already been cut, but you have to pass through and continue pushing the knife to cut deeper. And when you do that, you have to have some surface that the steak is sliding past. So having that real gradual ramp helps out, instead of like a blade that has an edge and then it gets real thick down here. So this is really good for slicing tasks, cutting and slicing. That's what blades are typically for, is cutting and slicing. So that blade shape and the way it's designed is really good. It's a really good design for cutting. Also the tip, some blades, they have kind of swoop up this way. So the tip is kind of like up here. So like, say if you have to kind of tilt the knife way up here like this to get to the tip, because it's swooping up too much. This one is not swooped up so much to where you can get to the tip. You're opening up a package, cutting a piece of tape, you can really get that tip of this knife right and do precise, cutting with the tip. So the tip's usable. The actual cutting of the blade is slices really nice. Also, since there's a hole here instead of a thumb stud sticking out, that doesn't get in the way. You're doing a large cut, like you can cut steaks off of the full rack right here with this, because there's no, you're using the entire blade surface. There's no stud to get in the way or anything like that. So that's the blade, and that's the way it is with all these basically, except for that rescue knife. That's a different purpose knife, so that's a little bit different. But all these have the same style, and I think that's why Spyderco is so popular. In addition to the little spider there. So Okay, so now it's time to talk about the compression lock. So we saw the liner lock. It's like a little kickstand that moves out of the way, allows the blade to fold. Now the compression lock kind of looks like a liner lock, but it's not. It's not a kickstand, actually. Let's go ahead and close this up. So you can see there's a pin right here that doesn't move. And then on the blade, you can see there's a little space right here. And as we move it, get to a certain point where this little, it is a piece of the liner that's springed out, a leaf spring. As we pull it up, it's going to snap in this place. And what it does when it does that is it wedges itself. This is very important. It wedges itself between that notch right there. You can see that notch on the blade has a little ramp. And as it goes over, it wedges itself between the blade with the little ramp and this pin. So there's pressure there. It fills in completely that gap. So any pressure on this blade going this way is on that pin, and any pressure going the opposite direction down, like if you're going to fold the knife, pushes on this little liner thing up into this, onto that pin. So either way you go, the pressure is on that pin, and the pin is part of the frame. So very strong lock. It is basically one of the strongest locks out there for this type of knife. You know, it's not a hard use type knife. It's not a hard use folder. I haven't seen any Spydercos that I would consider a hard use folder. But for the purpose of this knife being a pocket knife in which you deploy out of your pocket, use, and then put it, fold it, unfold it, and refold it and put it back in your pocket, normal tasks, excellent lock, excellent style of blade and handle shape and all that. So let me zoom back out again. So the Paramilitary 2, very popular style. There's endless different types of steel. There's different types of handle material, colors, all that stuff. Same thing with the Para 3. It's basically the smaller version. This one has a black blade, G10, compression lock. This one has a different type of blade steel. This one is the S45 VN steel. And then these have this is a BD1N. And blade steels are very important to understand those. So there's actually Blade HQ has a page where it compares different blade steels, because it's not cut and dry. There's no like, this is the best blade steel for everybody. It really isn't, because some of them are hard to sharpen. They have really good, the edge lasts a long time, but you have a hard time sharpening it. So, or they're too brittle. You know, they can snap the tip real easy, that kind of stuff. So depending on your needs is what you need to look at the blade steel comparison and find the knife that has this blade steel that works for you. And these are the lightweight Para 3s. That's a lightweight plastic handle. It has a wire clip here on the side. This one is in a Rex 45 blade steel. But you know, it's the same blade design. Basically the same type of deal. So yeah, you know, Spyderco, you know, I've learned to really enjoy collecting them and using them. The ease of use, the blade design is really good. It works really well for most things, you know, just day-to-day life tasks. These work really well. So yeah, this is kind of my thoughts on Spyderco and, you know, my transition and initial understanding, and then my more, you know, a little bit deeper and more realistic understanding of them. They are, for some people, could be pocket jewelry. They could be boutique type knives, depending on what you buy and how you use it and all that stuff. Because that's kind of like a thing nowadays. But they are, you know, they are enjoyable, you know, to look at and use and all that stuff. Now, I don't recommend, some people like to flick knives out and swing them around and stuff and play with them, but you know, that's not a good idea to play with razor sharp knives. It's not very healthy for your tendons and fingers and stuff. So I'm not really a fan of that, but people do it. And, but yeah, really good knife. It is, I can understand, you can justify some of the cost, especially the real expensive ones that I didn't understand before. I do understand them a little bit better now, you know. But if you want the cheaper ones, they're definitely high quality. Even though they're made in China, they are good. Now, there is fake ones out there. You know, there is fake, like you can buy a knife that looks just like this, almost identical, but it's a cheap $20 one made in China with unknown materials. So you want to watch out for that. You can, you know, there's people actually get fooled every single day on fake Chinese copies. So watch out for fakes. The fakes have every style imaginable. So they have the boxes that look exactly like this. They have the knives that look on pictures that look identical. So keep that in mind. Just avoid fakes unless you're intending to buy a fake, and then you know that's use that at your risk because who knows, you know, how it's going to hold up when you're using it. Yeah, I actually had I knew this guy that was using a wrench, since these are tools, and he bought a less expensive wrench and was using it, and he was working with it, and it broke, and he pulled it towards his face and then knocked his teeth out. So that was an expensive lesson, not to have cheap wrenches when you're using them for work. So yeah, there's also, you know, there's cost and benefits to everything. So when you cheap out on your tools and cut corners, that kind of thing could cost you. It could, you know, potentially hurt you or whatever, hurt somebody else. But anyways, thank you for watching kind of some of my ideas and understandings about Spyderco knives. And hopefully this has been helpful, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.